Hello again, Casually Hardcore fam. This is Nick back at you again with another video for our YouTube channel. Today's gameplay is going to be on Call of Duty World War II Beta, and on fact to the gameplay, that's also the topic for today. However, before I dive into what I thought the beta was like, I wanted to give you guys a little taste of what we're doing for the fall. For our podcast, we just wrapped up the first couple episodes of the season for Season 2. So those will be going live shortly. Actually, I'm going to finish editing those today, and episode 1 will be going live next week. I'll give more updates on when those will go live, but we're thinking now is that with our YouTube content schedule, Wednesday will be a video or review or a funny skit from Connor, whatever we feel like posting that day, and Sunday will be a visual representation of our podcast. So our podcast with gameplay in the background. Obviously, for those who want to get our podcast right away, you can listen to KUST's radio station through KUST's iTunes or our SoundCloud page. Remember to like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter. We'll have the description in the bio to kind of stay up to date with what we're doing. Promise you I'm not going to spam you too much with any information you don't want. It's all relative to gaming and what we do, and we all have a good time in that area. But basically, we're back in action again. Season 2 is well underway. We have a lot of content scheduled. A lot of great games are dropping here shortly, and we're going to have a lot of fun discussing those, playing those, getting people on, guest starring, etc. So stay tuned for more great content from us. I'm really excited to kind of share that with y'all. But to the main topic of today, Call of Duty World War II. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it meh? I personally think it is fantastic. Can I go right out there and say it? You should buy it or pre-order it right away, depending on when you're watching this video. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, it isn't already out yet. But it's a nice return of the king, to say the least. I wasn't a big fan of the predecessors recently of the Call of Duty series. I wasn't a big fan of Black Ops 3. Wasn't a big fan of Ghosts. Personally, Infinite Warfare's campaign was the best part of the game, and that once it was over, Infinite Warfare went eh. So, and the reason why, because I like those games, not was because of what the scenery was in terms of the campaign or setting. It was more or less the gameplay mechanics that tied along with the futuristic aspects. So, wall running, for instance, the jumping, the stupid overpowered weapons, just the laser guns. It was just, you know what? I have futuristic franchises that I personally play and love, like Halo, Titanfall, a little bit of Dawn of War. But I like those franchises because they were based in futuristic. Call of Duty, I don't want to be entirely futuristic. Don't get me wrong, Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3, kind of the semi-futuristic, were perfect. And I'd love for the franchise to go back to those roots too. But this whole appealing to this new generation of gamer with fast twitch shoot, I just was not me. And I was really thinking that this entry would determine whether or not I would continue to buy this series annually. And to my surprise, this beta was phenomenal. Sledgehammer Games definitely melded what the modern graphics and the gameplay with the classic formula that made Call of Duty great. It's the best of both worlds, and it's really like a breath of relief to be able to say that personally, just because I'm a big Call of Duty fanboy. I personally have the Modern Warfare 3 360. I have the Call of Duty controller. I mean, like, as much as people bash that game for being casual, I'm a big fan of the series. I've always have been. Ever since Call of Duty 3 on the original Xbox, I've been hooked. So it's good to keep that excitement and engagement still being there. And it was addictive. The beta was addictive. When I had gotten footage recorded, I was trying to do other things, record for other games, do some write-ups. I just couldn't put the controller down. I was like, one more game. The war mode, which I'll talk more in depth here later, was great. If you played Overwatch, you'll be right at home with that mode. And again, I'll discuss it in a bit. But bottom line, beta was phenomenal. I played on the PlayStation. The gameplay you'll see here is off my PlayStation. Now, I did play on the Pro, so I don't know if that will boost versus the base model. However, frame rate was amazing. Visuals were fantastic. The gameplay doesn't really show how amazing it was. I was playing in 4K, 60 frames with HDR. I don't think that the gameplay can transition in that, or at least upload in that. But I'm telling you, if you see this in person, it's going to look absolutely stunning. The fact that we're now 2 Call of Duty generations in, or installments, excuse me, that haven't been held back from last gen, you can definitely see the creative resources kind of amping up a little bit. So what I'm going to dive in now is the new division mode, or division style system for classes. Call of Duty, if you haven't really heard about it yet, with this new entry, is kind of changing up create a class once again, and not to the point of where you have points to pick and choose things. They've gotten rid of the perk system entirely. You have this new skill system where each division has specific skills that are tied to that character, and you have to use those skills in that area. Now there are some like basic training, first shooter, some other kind of quirky ones that are universal across divisions. However, each division will fit your playstyle. So basically the divisions surround the weapon type. So you have a sniper, you have a heavy weapons expert, so LMGs. You have your shotgun guy that looks kind of like the Battlefield 1 guy, a little cop in there with the gas mask personally, but then you have the SMGs. I think their division's called the Airborne. So fast-paced, quick, twitch shooting that you come to know and love. And then you have the Army one, the basic one that I did, which is assault rifles. It has the bayonet charge as one of its skills attached to that, which is kind of corny considering it's literally the same thing from Battlefield 1. But honestly, I'd rather have games be inspired by good games personally, so with stuff like that, and I'll take that any day. It just helps the game be better and better. Personally, it's gonna be different for me to kind of get used to not using perks and changing the creative class again. It's nice. It's actually a really nice refresh, to be quite honest, and it doesn't take that big of a learning curve. Now I'm assuming that the beta or the main game will have more content in that area, so it's going to be a little bit more of a learning curve, but at least with the beta, I got it and was able to kind of adapt to it really quickly. However, the one thing I was really disappointed in was apparently there's going to be a lot of customization tied to your division. However, in the beta, I think the second round they showed a little bit of that, but there wasn't much customization, so I'm not going to be able to kind of give a good feedback / reco on how you're going to stylize your character, considering that's been a big part of Call of Duty since Black Ops 3 has been kind of designing your character. Actually, Ghost a little bit too, but we'll see on that. It's just cosmetics and a first-person shooter, nothing game-breaking there, but I like to look good when I'm playing my games. But enough of that. Divisions are amazing. I'm really excited to see what they do with them. I'm excited to see if maybe they introduce the new division in the game later on as DLC with a new weapon sub-style system. I mean, it has opportunity for growth in that area should it be really popular. But I think it's a great addition. So the next part is the game modes. Phenomenal. You got the standard team deathmatch, domination, capture the flag, etc. Kill confirmed is back as well. They all flow extremely well. The modes are, it's Call of Duty. I mean, how can you break modes that have been phenomenal? So, but just to kind of give some reassurance, they fit well with the maps. They fit well with the more slower game style now. They've been tweaked, obviously, for these older weapons, and it's fixed really good. But the king of the beta and the king of this game is the new war mode. So like I stated earlier with Overwatch, if you've ever played those escort kind of missions where you have to escort the bomb into the hangar or escort the car, this is basically what the mission we had in this beta was. You have to escort the tank. So you're seeing in the gameplay background here the tank that's going around. After a certain point in the mode, you start escorting a tank to the final objective, and that's kind of like what Overwatch does in its gameplay. You get to a certain point, then you escort it, etc. And it works amazing. It's aesthetically really cool, especially when you have like certain checkpoints. If you're on the attackers, you have planes flying overhead or explosions happening. Defenders, you have that sense of urgency of loss, especially when something gets captured, you're told to retreat. It's really freaking cool. It definitely makes you feel immersed. It's a 6v6, which I thought would be a little disappointing considering I thought the game would be bigger. However, they balanced it pretty well with the map that we were allowed to play. There are some rumors / speculation that some AI might have a play into this, so that would be interesting to see kind of AI troops working in tangent with you. But we'll see. Personally, I thought it was a great change of pace. I'm hoping we get more maps, though. That's my only concern. We had multiple maps in the beta for the other multiplayer modes. However, we only had one war mode. It's kind of like Halo 5 with Warzone. There's only a select amount of Warzone maps. I think it's really going to depend on the popularity of how many maps we get for the war mode. So we'll see. The map that I got to play, though, was phenomenal, really good, and I really enjoyed it. So now maps kind of lead into that. Holy crap, they're awesome. You got a nice wide spread of, you have the D-Day beaches of Normandy. You have winter Russian maps. You have urban environment maps. You have maps in the kind of before the American invasion of Europe. I mean, you got a nice big spread of all timelines in terms of maps, and they look great. They definitely took attention to detail in terms of kind of getting the little things down. It looks pretty freaking awesome. So map-wise, they're a good variety so far. The flow is really well done. There's not many maps that I played in the beta. Actually, there's none that I'm like, this map I want to skip. Now, obviously, I haven't played the game a substantial amount, and obviously every Call of Duty gets, after the kind of like, the shiny part of it's over, the new game's done, you kind of start seeing the flaws in the system. I'm sure that some of these maps later on will be in that category, but for right now, the ones they displayed were really good. We'll definitely see with the new maps as they're showed off later on. A little side note here, that's the bayonet chart I talked about earlier in the gameplay here. But it was a great experience in terms of maps. The aesthetics looked great, the flow looked great. There wasn't a lot of choke spots or kill spots. There was definitely, would rotate on the map more, and they definitely have got their stuff down. Sledgehammer really knocked it out of the park this time around with the maps, considering Advanced Warfare, one of the flaws of that game was the maps were pretty shitty. So I think they really took that feedback to heart and kind of really looked back at what made Call of Duty maps good. Now, I will say this, though. They are pretty generic in terms of World War II. I mean, you're, at this point, though, however, I mean, so many World War II games and movies and shows have been out that there's really not much room to do originality in terms of games, or like in terms of like aesthetically appealing maps, etc. But they look good. That's all I care about, to be quite honest, is they look good, they play good, they're good to go. So kind of to wrap this all up with my overall impressions of this beta. Oh man, it was, I'd buy it right now. I have the game pre-ordered. I'm really contemplating pre-ordering the DLC season pass. I gotta wait a little bit until more zombie stuff's shown off. That was the other thing to kind of like talk about too, is they didn't demo zombies, and that had me kind of a little disappointed. But honestly, from what they've shown off from the trailers, the game, the zombies mode looks a lot darker and cooler. So I honestly think, like, with what's going on and everything's going well, I could see this being a turnaround for the Call of Duty series. I really do. They didn't show off any loot box style system like they've been doing, and they haven't announced it yet. But fingers crossed that they've kind of got rid of that system. But I highly doubt they did. It's too lucrative. So I would stay tuned for more information on that front. Obviously, I don't really endorse that style of microtransactions when you have a full $50 season pass. I believe microtransactions are good in games that are either free to play or have free DLC system, and that's it's their way of making money is microtransactions. But with Call of Duty, considering it's the juggernaut powerhouse of gaming currently, first-person shooters, they're kind of abusing that system. But we'll see how it goes. I guess the final notes would be get the game, pre-order it. If you get a chance to play any snippets of it, I think the beta in terms of gameplay is done. I don't know if they're going to do another week. We'll see. Maybe they'll do one more extra. But the game's around the corner. I think the game launches in November. I'm quite sure. Right now, if they were to do a beta, it would be more of a glorified demo than anything else. But from that's my point. I would definitely rate this an 8 out of 10 in terms of gameplay, 9 out of 10 in aesthetics and sound and quality. And I think maybe a 7 out of 10 on the mechanics for the new modes / division. Obviously, it's subject to change. It's the beta. Things are going to be tweaked around a little bit, but I feel like what they showed off is going to be the exact same rendition of the game, and I think it's going to be all pretty good. So with my final notes, stay tuned for more content from Casually Hardcore. I personally will probably be doing more reviews. I know I'm going to ramp up production on Battlefront 2 when that gets around the corner. I'm planning on doing a little Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original series, of some gameplay. So you'll see some old mods, etc. So that'll be really fun. I know Halloween, we got a lot of things tied in. I will also be doing an update video. I'm posting it on Facebook and YouTube as our main page to kind of give an update on what we're going to be doing for Halloween. We got a big month planned. We got a lot of exciting, fun things ready to go. And as always, have a wonderful day. Thanks again for taking the time to listen to my review. All your support really helps us, personally me, and keeps me motivated in what I'm doing. It's good to know that people out there care about what we do and care about our thoughts and what we have to say about the gaming world, because this is our passion. We love what we do. If we didn't love it, we wouldn't be doing it. None of this is for the money. It's all for the friends and fun and playing video games, baby. So again, I'm Nick from the Casually Hardcore podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye.